Well, here we are, yours truly, up in the Swanee River, one of the little springs along the river that flow into the river, about 100 feet, 200 feet. I hope this thing is working now. Anyhow, this was the trip I took with my father and Lloyd Gertman. Oh, quite a few years back, way back in the, I suppose, middle 50s or sooner. I hope this thing is taken now, Terry. I sure was skitty, bald-headed too. Getting out of the springs. The temperature of that water is the same the year round. The spring water that flows into the Swanee River. Oh, this is several miles up from Old Town. That's our cabin cruiser that I had built, my father and I had built, rather. And that is what we used for the trip. It had a big cabin on it, homemade. This is some of the scenery along the river. It was beautiful. The water was high. Plenty of water to navigate with. Well, we did have to chew up a few trot lines on the trip, strung across the river. No big deal. We took it all in stride. There's my father looking down at the springs. There's old Smarty. Beautiful, crystal clear water. Cool, refreshing. Make it live to be 150 years old. It's not the fountain of youth, though. It's Ponce de Leon look for. Close enough, though. This old suspension bridge, been there many, many years. I can't remember the town right there. The town close to the river. I thought the bridge was quite interesting. I believe that's Lloyd Gerber taking the pictures so far. There's Lloyd. That's Lloyd. There's our cabin cruiser. We had a 15 horse on the rear end to push it. We sure weren't looking for speed. This is another springs, not the same springs. There were several of them along the Swanee River that flowed into the river. Okay, here we are packing up, ready to go home. The bank was only 50 feet high. We had a devil of a time getting the boat out of the river. But we made it. The old Plymouth. It looks homemade, don't it? There's the point, Lake Buffum. That's a little shack. I brought all that material across the lake by boat. I couldn't get to it any other way at that time. There's Elsie, Sam, Lake Buffum. There's Ben and William Gertman, Sandy, Elsie and Sam, Caroline, Sandy. Just cutting up. Lloyd said we always had to do this to take pictures, which was wrong, of course. I believe Sandy was about 6 years old at that time. So I'd be about 1953. 53 or 54. 53, I believe. The great acrobats. There's our home away from home. We're out the point, Lake Buffum. That's what we call our little shack out there. The kid's cutting up. Look at that tan on the old man. I'm paying for it today, though, with skin cancer. I weighed 132 pounds. I think Elsie weighed about 130 at that time. 128 maybe. Sandy was 6, Caroline was 13 or 12. That's the round board we skied on. I almost broke my neck on that thing. Paying for that today too, all those years. The bad neck. See that white hat? Still wearing it. Not the same one though. We know where you been. Young and full of it. Just cutting up. Lloyd and William Gertman. Ben and William, Gertman. That's yours truly and his family. They were putting it in then. The bulldozer and drag lines, whatever. The kids are always trying to protect their mommy. You notice the cigarette in my mouth, I suppose. Sandy. There they are. The whole crew. Our little shack on the point. You wouldn't know it today, though, because the water has receded out there about 300 feet into the lake. Used to be a beautiful lake. You drink it. There's my mother, first trip to Florida, back in the middle 50s. Ain't she pretty? Mother and her oldest son. We were a backyard next door here, the old house, about 2 houses from where I live now. Elsie and mother. In our backyard over down the street here, the old house. I planted those pines. They're all gone now, though. That's a swing I had made for the kids, as you see there. Oh, hello, Sandy. I heard your voice there. I hear Kelly, too. That is my mother. She died at 94 years old. She never did like her picture taken too much. I wish I had more now. It's our place down the street here. I grew my own trees and so forth. That's a barn out back. Just about a half a block from where I live now. The West live there now. Kenneth West and his wife. There's Artie and Bertha, Elsie's sister and brother-in-law. They were still living in Connecticut, I believe. There's my mother and Elsie. Every day they've been shopping. There's Earl Holland, leveling the dirt off at Lake Buffum after we dug the canal. It's a village out there now. That's the way it looked when they were working out there. This picture was taken about, 1953. There's an old red boat. Mother and Sam, I think Bertha and Artie. Miners Cove, that's a little lake on the other side of the Lake Buffum. One side of the shack out there. Mother and my pine trees out back the old house. There's Bertha and Elsie the two sisters, and mother. Always had the pocketbooks, women. Bach Tower at that time. Of course, you can't see that now so well because it's grown up, the trees have grown up the last 45 years. I suppose that's my mother taking the picture. Yep, sure it was. Pretty woman. I don't think it rubbed off on me too much, though. My daughters, yes. Bach Towers. Mother sure enjoyed that trip over there. Elsie and mother. Sam and his mother. I was the oldest of 8 children. 4 of them are dead now. Four boys are dead. Harold and I, and only 2 living boys left, and there's 2 girls left. 4 of us. That's a little spring up on top of the Stone Mountain, Bach Tower. I suppose it's artificial. It's at the foot of the tower. Well, you can see it there in the picture. Of course, that's all grown up now, 45 years later. A beautiful thing. That was put there by Bach Tower in memory of, he came to the United States as an immigrant and made good. That Bach Tower is in memory. Well, he donated to the U.S. for having given him his riches. I believe the tower was finished in 1927. There's my boat. We're back out Lake Buffum again. Bob and Harold, Floyd, fooling around, skiing. There's Mary, Floyd's wife, first wife that is. Sandy fishing. That was real good fishing there too. You could just catch most anything you wanted to catch in a short time. Mary smoking. Mary Stickney, Floyd's wife. Caroline, mother, and Elsie. There was a place to relax out at Lake Buffum, out at the point. There's the old ark. I called it the old ark. It looked like it too. That's all gone now. All gone. That's all dry land, mowing it. Too bad. Lake Buffum still has a lot of fish in it, but it's hard to catch them sometimes. That's all houses back in there now, all developed. That's out at the point, right next to the point. There's Bob cutting up, my brother Bob, out at Lake Buffum at the point. Sandy and her mother, and our other little boat I had at the same time. I had 3 boats, those Ark, that one, and the red boat. I had a boathouse there at that time. They held 2 of the small boats. I taught Caroline to run the boat, run the motor. She did a real good job. There's Peggy, Harold's wife, my mother, and Caroline. I think she got all the dirty work that trip, looks like. That's a storm approaching the point across Lake Buffum. There's Caroline driving the boat, mother and Sandy. They learned pretty good back then. Sandy was skiing at 6 years old. Shame when I sold that place. Too late to cry. I still have a little piece left out there. There's the whole family gathering out at Lake Buffum, just about. Personal family. Phyllis and mother and, well, it's too numerous to mention. It's all family anyhow. We used to get out gather out there once in a while, and we have wonderful times, skiing and picnicking and fishing. Just think, 4 of those guys are dead now, my 4 brothers. Phyllis, let's see, he's dead, Bertha's dead, Mother's dead, Floyd's dead, Robert's dead. Well, I'm telling you what, they go through the years. Well, that's about 45 years ago, about. Bertha and Artie, Elsie's sister and brother-in-law, and mine too, I guess. That was Phyllis sitting next to him. Bob and Elsie cutting up. Excuse the cough. Sandy trying to protect her mother. Trying to get Bertha so we could take her picture. She never wanted her picture taken for some reason. We had to fight her every time. My 2 girls, Sandy and Caroline, 7 years between the 2 of them. That's our yard over here, the old house, the old farmhouse.